single.
Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it. But
increase, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm Rob Genovesi. I'm one of your co-hosts. Excited to come at you here live. Is Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And listen, if you're tuning in today, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. And also mark your calendars. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we're coming at you with some great information. We've got some great guests every single week. We're pulling in wonderful people who you can learn from. Steve and I are always talking about making connections and creating community, bringing people together. And I'm going to tell you, some of my greatest accomplishments came out of collaborations that were once connections that were once we didn't know each other. So, you always want to be connecting. Steve and I go way back about 27 years, 28 years, a long time. Two former shy guys turned connectors. We're both introverts still. That doesn't change. That's an energy thing. And, we started out, and I'll say I was clueless. I don't think Steve was all that clueless. Steve had a few things going for him. I had nothing going for me, literally. I didn't know anything about business, relationships, management, leadership, nothing. I didn't know anything. But Steve, he had an advertising agency early on. He owned that. He holds a couple of different black belts, multiple degrees in 2 different martial arts disciplines. So he'd kick your butt 2 ways to Tuesday, and you wouldn't even know it. I mean, he's absolutely unbelievable, but humble as anything. And I don't know if he ever actually, I have to ask him. I don't know if he actually ever got in a fight where he had to use the maximum amount of skills he had. But, the two of us kind of had a similar growing up, little guys picked on, bullied. Steve is overcoming learning disabilities, dyslexia. I mean, we are 2 guys highly unlikely to succeed. You remember your yearbook, most likely to succeed? That was not me. I don't know about Steve, but listen, I'm going to bring him on. He is the master connector. Help me welcome to the show, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
Rob G. Yep, I was definitely not the most likely to succeed either. So yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, in fact, I'm not even sure if my picture was on there. That's how unlikely I was to succeed. But it's been an incredible journey, and it's been a great journey. Having some of that with you, sir, knowing each other for, like you said, close to 28 years. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my challenges are great because they shaped who I am today. So I love them and I embrace them. But I appreciate you, sir. I know you've embraced your challenges, and it's great building this together. So what's going on, friends? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. And so listen, persistence and grit are the unwavering companions of the journey of finding a way every day. They embody the resilience to face obstacles head on, the determination to push through adversity, and the commitment to never surrender to defeat. With every day, it presents unique challenges. Persistence reminds us that setbacks are not roadblocks, but rather stepping stones toward our goals and growth. Grit fuels our persistence, urging us to dig deeper, to strive harder, and to find creative solutions when the path seemed unclear, right? Having that learning disability, I learned how to be a creative problem solver and work around problems, work through problems. If I get a wall, I bust through it, climb over it, climb under it, figure out a way, somehow, some way, right? But in the pursuit of our goals, find a way every day becomes more than a motto. It becomes a testament to our unwavering dedication and the unwavering belief that no matter what the odds are, there's always a way to move forward. So again, I'm gonna have Rob put in the comments. Let's go if you're ready for Rob to introduce our guest. But I want to just say this: if you're checking us out for the first time, or you're part of our community, we love participants. Get in the comments, connect, tell us where you're tuning from, tell us what city you're from, your state, country, whatever. if you love this, make sure to share this with people in your community. It's a labor of love, and we appreciate everyone on here. So, Rob, I appreciate you, sir. Speaking of which, and I'll let you introduce our amazing guest.
All right, thanks, Steve. Yeah, I'm excited for today's guest. Like I was saying, we get some amazing guests on here. Steve is the master connector, and he brings all the guests our way, so we can bring them to you. And today is going to be no different. And I'm pretty pumped. I was looking at this guy's background a little bit, and man, talk about going through some stuff. Like when Steve was talking about, you go through challenges, and it's what makes you today. But listen, Merrill Hodge, our guest today, he played in the NFL for 8 seasons. He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Chicago Bears. He was also a football analyst for ESPN for 21 years. In 2018, Hodge helped launch Your Call Football and is the author of Find a Way, 3 Words That Changed My Life, as well as Brainwashed, the Bad Science Behind CTE and the Plot to Destroy Football. Sounds intense. Listen, Hodge continues to find new ways to make a positive impact with his mind, heart, and energy. Whether that be through his educational work, advocacy, or motivational engagements, he is a force for positive change and inspiration. And I know some things that aren't here in the bio that I read about him that make me go, you just can't stop certain people. And he's got some things maybe he'll share with us. But please welcome to the show, Mr. Merrill Hodge. Hey, Merrill.
Hey, gentlemen. It's nice to be with you finally. Looking
Finally,
forward
for
to it,
sure.
Rob and Steve, man. You guys got some great energy, and just looking forward to being a part of the show.
We're excited to have you on here, sir. It's an honor, to be honest with when Rob's reading your bio, and I know we talked already, but just incredible what you've done and what you're looking to do. Right? It's not about what we did, but it's about what we're doing, right? And where we're going, right?
Very true.
Well, hey, I want to start out by just talking about empower, right? So let's kick this off, right? So community, type in hashtag empower, right? So, Meryl, would you do us a favor and share a recent experience where you felt in control of a challenging situation? How did it empower you?
Well, I actually want to back up to age 12. I did something accidentally that I think is one of the most empowering thing. Oh, actually, it's accidentally. I got I heard some things when I was a kid. I heard a teacher one day walk in and go, "You need to write your goals down and then pin them up in your room because it's where you start and end your day." And I was age 10. And man, when I heard that, I was like, that's the coolest thing I'd ever heard. I got, then I started thinking, well, geez, I never seen a wall of cork in a bedroom. And then I wanted a wall of cork in my bedroom because visuals are a powerful tool that can help anybody, control their mind. Because the ultimate challenge that we all have, that we all deal with, is we all have different circumstances. We all have challenges. We all have dreams. You have goals. You have circumstances you're dealing with. They're just uniquely different. But we all have the one tool that's the most powerful tool, and that is our mind. And the key to that is, do you control your mind, or does your mind control you? And so many times it can be caught up in the noise outside. Well, the noise outside knows nothing about you. It's not going to help you. But we tend to let that creep in and guide us. Whereas visuals help you control your mind. It helps you shut the noise out. And I've used visuals since I was 12. I have my board over there right now, and that's how I operate. And then you become. I have a great quote by Aristotle. I didn't know who Aristotle was when I discovered this. I discovered it as a kid. I was actually searching for Walter Payton, which tells you the level of. Obviously, I'm a C student. This is a great example of what a C student does. You go into the library looking for Walter Payton, you come out finding things on Aristotle. Okay, so that's ultimately what happens on the journey.
Yeah.
But this quote is still one of the principles in my life, and it is true, and it's powerful. You are what you repeatedly do. Then excellence is not an act, but a habit. Now, that's true for everybody. Like that should be empowering to anybody who's listening right now. I don't care what your circumstances is. I don't care where you are in life. I don't care what you might be dealing with. You are the person that's going to change that. You're the person who's going to put the work into it, and nobody else is going to do that as much as you're going to do that, and you want to do that. And you have those tools, and it does start right here. Where everything starts and ends here, and all the in between. and how we feed it, how we program it, is the greatest weapon that we're going to have, or it can be, our greatest challenge if we let it wander and we don't train it properly. We don't constantly exercise it in the proper manner. And I can think of many things. Well, just my speak. I'll use my speaking as an example. I've been doing this for about a little over 15 years. Okay, I left ESPN because I really wanted to speak. That's all I really wanted to do. I guess I just got so passionate about it. But it hit me. I'm like, man, I don't know anything about speaking. I just go speak, but I don't really know the business. I thought, well, I should learn the business. And so I went to a boot camp. I kind of shut everything down and I rebuilt from the ground up. And in the process, I learned so much that I didn't know that has helped me. It's going to help me in the long term. Is that an easy journey? Nope. It's been an arduous one. Most have, but experiences that I've had in the past help me with the future stuff, in the sense of, I know people can get frustrated. This happens a lot. People will get frustrated and you keep pounding, you keep working, and then you make the one mistake you should never make, is you quit. I've always said I've never failed at any of my goals. That doesn't mean I accomplished them all. And what I mean by that, every journey I have went out and every goal I went after, there's bought a lot that I discovered something on the path I would never discovered had I not gone that journey or gone that path. And so I feel rewarded that even though it wasn't the ultimate goal, I achieved something I didn't see coming. And my life has been filled with that. I'm doing this in front of you guys right now. And if you'd have backed up 30 years ago when I was in the National Football League, actually 38, geez, as a rookie, and you said you're going to work at ESPN and you're going to be an inspirational speaker, I'd be like, you lost your mind. You lost your mind. I knew this. I ain't speaking. That'd been the first thing I said. I know I'm not speaking. So it's, that mindset, the mind, I go back to the one tool that is the most powerful tool, and is our mind. How do we program it? How do we train it? And how do we control it? Visuals. That is a critical start. And then the other aspect of that is constantly evaluating yourself and self-reflection, literally stand in front of a mirror and go, okay, am I doing everything I need to be doing right now? Is there more in there? What do I need to start doing, or what do I need to change? Like, when you do that and you make a commitment to that person in the mirror, I will tell you this, because I've done it so many times, that is when your world changes. That's when life changes. And that's when it actually becomes more personal and more real. And you start shutting all the noise on the outside, because that's not help. None of that's going to influence you in the right direction, because it doesn't even know where you're going.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, I mean, so many things resonated with what you said. Obviously, being in the NFL, right? That's a platform where you're in front of, hundreds of thousands, and when you count broadcast, millions, right? And I'm not minimizing it, right? You said speaking was the last thing. Me, I was the guy that was shy and introverted. And here's the thing: in my world, I started getting the martial arts. My sensei basically trained us that if you, as an early student, like white belts early on, if you spoke, you got a beating. So it's like, so the last thing I was going to be was somebody who was a speaker, right? I mean,
Right.
and like you, I mean, it's just like you make a commitment, you see the vision, you put your mind to it, and like you said, the only way you could fail is you quit. And I am not a quitter. I mean, a lot of challenges, broken noses, lips, whatever, to make it as a black belt. And I did it because I didn't quit. Married 34 years, lots of challenges. My wife's a black belt as well. So visual for you,
That's
Mr.
cool.
and Mrs. Smith, kind of crazy. But we could have quit many times. We just didn't. Right. And we have a great marriage today. So the secret to success is everything you spoke about, right? Having a vision, putting your mind, be accountable to yourself. I love what you said. And great. So I want to just point out a couple real quick. Yolanda is tuning in, so I want to just give her kudos here. Yolanda is an incredible. I call her family now because she's just part of the family. She's part of the Master Connector family. So glad you're on here, Yolanda. And it's great to see Estelle. I know we've been connected for quite a while, so good seeing Estelle. I just wanted to point out. I know there's a lot more watching and tuning in. We'd love if you get in the comments, because then we know you're there. Otherwise, we just see a number and we don't know you're here. So please make sure. And if you have questions for Meryl, we want to put them in the comments, right? Because I'm sure Merrill will be happy to answer them as well. But again, appreciate the perspective you just gave us. We talked about, one of the things I've become as a life student, and self-development is a huge part of who I am as a person, and has gotten me out of myself and becoming the man I really was destined to become, right? So here's what I want. You mentioned about self-reflection, huge. So here's the question. So hashtag learning community, type in the comments, but reflecting on your past week, what's one thing you learned about yourself that surprised you? And how do you plan to integrate this insight into your daily life?
Boy, I do that almost daily about things that now I'm gonna go outside a week. I need to go outside a
Okay.
week for
Yeah.
one reason, because it was a thing that I had done as a player. It was the only time I ever felt better. I'm sure that you've heard about like cold plunging. It's become
Absolutely.
I used to do that as a player. Okay, all right, but I'd only do it when I felt really bad, and every time I got out of that ice tub. So this is like 39 years ago. Okay, when we
Yeah.
were doing this. But I never did it consistently. I just did it when I felt my worst. And I always remember feeling, man, that's the only time I feel better and feel recovered than after I do that. So I've been putting that off. My brother's done it for several years, and he's always challenged me to do it. And you stick your hand in there and you're like, why do I want to do that to myself? Yeah, really, why do I want to go into 39-degree water and do that? Well, I can tell you this. Um, I start thinking about it. Takes about 5 minutes, and you don't even have to get in there 5 minutes. I think some of the science behind it is only two. Okay, but I picked the goal for five, and here's what I ultimately came up with. In like say the last 10 days, I've been doing cold plunging for 5 minutes at 39 degrees, and every time I get out there, then I'm like, there's nothing I can do that's more health beneficial for me in 5 minutes. I know of nothing I can do, and there's nothing harder I'm going to do today than that. So in 5 minutes, I accomplished a lot of things at 6 o'clock in the morning that I'd never accomplished before, and it's almost given me a sense of youthfulness and
Yeah.
energy. And honestly, I feel like I'm 59 years old, and I feel like there's so many things. I mean, it's like I'm waking up. To be honest with you,
Yep.
it's just like there's so many. Life's a team game. There's this opportunity here. Being with you guys, seeing the platform that you have and what you guys do, and how you give messages to people and help people. I just don't think there's anything greater than the game of life. I played one of the greatest team sports ever, but the game of
Yep.
life is the one that I relish now. And to see people like you doing what you do, and to contribute in a little bit is obviously, I mean, is an awesome opportunity for me.
Appreciate that. That's great. Yeah. Listen, it's funny you mentioned plunging, and thank you for the kind words. And it's an honor that we have this platform, that we could touch people's lives, and that's my mission on this planet, which is to be the light, uplift, inspire, and encourage. And but to me, true success is not money, material things. It's how many people are better because you were here. That's what true success is to me. So I appreciate that. But one thing about the plunging, besides the health factor and the 5 minutes best thing you can do for your health, to me, it's also a differentiator, right? It's a separator, right? How many people are willing to do that, right? And that also, I mean, those are some of the things that I've done. I haven't gotten to plunging yet. I'm in the sauna right now. I like the warm, right? But that's the opposite, right? Um,
I think that's a
Hey,
good
listen,
point.
I'm not arguing with you, Rob. I'm not arguing with you at all. But actually, I'm gonna start looking into the sauna next, and do the combination
yeah,
aspect
I
of it.
hear that.
But
It's good too. Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of guys
they
go
never
in the
said it.
sauna
They
and they
never
go
said that you actually plunge into a sauna. So I think there's a big difference there.
yeah,
Nobody
yes,
ever
for
went kicking
sure.
and screaming into a sauna.
No, not at all. But there are
there's
guys in
truth
my
on
gym
that.
that they go come out of the sauna, they go into like an ice cold shower for a minute, and they come back in the sauna, and so there's
Yeah.
probably something there. But yeah, but I want to talk about a differentiate. And Rob, jump in if you have anything you want to comment on. But differentiate it. So hashtag differentiate. So how would you differentiate between thoughts that serve your goal growth and those that hold you back? And maybe you could even provide some examples of how you've consciously lifted your mindset in favor of growth.
Well, listen, I'm going to use social media. I'll give you an example. Okay.
Sure.
Listen, if you're looking at social media and you're always looking for how many likes you got and comments matter to you, okay, well then social media, your social media's prisoner. Period. And I know that I go back to, do you control your mind, or does your mind control you? Do you control social media, or does social media control you? And I think there's some real good things in social media. This would be considered social media, I think. So obviously there's some really good things. How do you control your social media? Um, I go back to ownership. You're responsible for your journey. You're the one that's got to do the work. You're the one that's going to get you to where you got to go. Um, and so nobody's opinions outside there, especially in the social media atmosphere, matter. I mean, listen, the vast majority of them have absolutely no idea what they're doing anyway. So for them to weigh in on your journey and tell you about your journey, and then you give that validation, those type of things, social media, I've been empowering not doing. I use it for the things that matter to me the most, that will feed where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to build, the positivity that I want in my life, and that's it. I don't need any more from it. I don't care if there's a million people that like something or zero that liked it. That is not that. It's not my prisoner. It's not holding me as a prisoner, and that is, to me, it's been empowering to me to be able to control it in that manner, use it in that manner, and I get the most production from it because I do it that way.
Yeah, I love it.
When you talk about differentiation, I mean, and this is kind of where this is my world now, Merrill. I build brands, and the whole idea behind it is differentiation. And what you're saying is, you're putting yourself out there, and you don't much care about what people think, right? You're just doing what you do. And I guess what made me excel at building brands, because I did a few things throughout my career and never really succeeded, and didn't have a lot of skills early on, and most of it was due to fear. I mean, petrifying fear, paralyzing fear that I couldn't talk to people. Steve will tell you, he knew me way back when. I couldn't talk to a soul.
Mm.
It was very difficult. I didn't know how to put words together. Everybody scared me. I knew everybody was smarter than me. I knew everybody was making more money than me. I knew that for a fact. And that was kind of what I used to, kind of hide behind. When I really understood, like what you're saying, you put yourself out there. Once I overcame the fear, it's my platform today, because once I overcame the fear, I had no problem putting myself out there, because I don't really give a rip what people think about me, because I know some people are not going to like me. But by the same token, a lot of people will love me based on the message, not me as a person. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, my personality, you like it doesn't matter. The message is what resonates with people. And your message, I laugh.
Yeah.
I was laughing earlier when you say, if you told me 28 years ago that I'd be speaking to people, I'd say you were crazy. I'm like, yeah, me too, bud. I
Yeah.
mean, if somebody said you'd be speaking, I would laugh, because I couldn't even literally speak. But the differentiating factor, what makes you different, is actually what attracts people to your message.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rob, you said something there that when I speak, I get to this point, I go, you're an example of this. Okay. Do you live by what you trust, not by what you fear? Okay. At the end of the day, I know that fear was overwhelming to you, but at the end of the day, you eventually went to what you trusted, and that is you. And that's what Find a Way is about, is trust you. Okay. Don't live in fear. Okay. Fear is temporary.
Yep.
But regret is forever. So it is
Right.
better to build a life of resiliency than a life of regret. And go back to your options. Okay. I'm not going to live in this fear. I'm going to trust me. I'm going to trust me. And I just think when people can do that, when they start doing that, that's when that's when things change. That's when they evolve. That's when they grow. And you have to obviously, I think sometimes that comes at a crossroads in your life. Oftentimes, that's when you're putting a moment of truth, and man, you got to make a decision. You got to dig yourself out, and something's got to change. And you're the one that's got to change it. And when you realize that, man, that is when you are in control of everything, where you're going and what you want to do and what you want to be. You're in charge of that. And people lose sight of that. And I think they lose hope in that. And that's what Find a Way is about, is they can regain that, and
You know, I'm
instill
going
those
to jump in
strengths
here
that
for
they
a
have.
second, Merrill. Sorry, Steve, but I got to jump in because I know we're going to be closing up. But your whole thing, those three words resonated with me the first time I saw your profile and saw what you were about. I'm going to tell you this, and this should mean a lot to a lot of people who are listening. How a very simple principle can change a person's life. When I was a kid, my dad, who was very resourceful, he could fix anything, build anything. He would always look at something and go, there's got to be a better way. If he didn't like the design of something or how something was engineered, it could have been a television, it could have been a blender, it could have been anything. You go, there's got to be a better way. And, it's those words when I was, fast forward to when I was 22 years old and I had my first job out of college and I was sitting in traffic in New York. And I realized this is rush hour traffic. And I had a flash that this is going to be the rest of my life, sitting in rush hour traffic, sucking fumes. And I remember thinking, there's got to be a better way.
Oh, that's
And it
great.
took me a while, but your find a way thing kind of transformed that concept transformed me because I figured there's got to be a better way. And I didn't know how to do anything. So your find a way, my message morphed over the years. I got 4 kids now. You ask my kids, what do I tell them most often? What are the 3 words? They get very frustrated with me, Merrill. They ask me a question. And I go, you know what? You need to figure it out. Yes, I can give you the answer, but that is going to hobble you. And you can figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you can't, I will help you find the way, but you have to figure it out because what you were saying before I started talking this time was, it's up to you. You got to dig your way out. You got to find your way out. You got to figure it out. You got to find a way. Cause I meet so many people go, I don't know how to win. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to write a book. I don't know how to write a pod. I don't know how to do. You got to figure it out, man. And I think that's kind of the essence of your message, no?
Yeah, it is. If you don't know how to do all that, go find somebody that does. Listen, I've always started with somebody who does know how to do it. I'm like, let me start there. I use Walter Payton all the time. That's when I talked about finding Aristotle. I went to the library to search on Walter Payton.
Yeah.
How I stumbled across Aristotle, I still don't know this day, but I went to search. I'm like, that guy's the best in the world. I'm doing it. I want to do it. What is he doing that can help me? And that's where I've always been like that. I've always done that. And it's so helped. That's why I said I'm a product of so many people. People have challenged me. People have inspired me. Without people, I find hope in people. So you can find a lot like that in the journey about what other people do and what they've done. And it can help you on your journey. Skip some steps. I bet we all have kids that we can help our kids skip maybe some hiccups. But they still got to do the work. Nobody wants it. So I start to tell people, you're telling your kids, I don't, even as much as you love your kids, as much as I love my kids, I don't want what my kids will want as much as they want it. I'm not going to put the work in for you. Okay. You have to do that. You're responsible for that. Okay. And if you don't do that, you learn nothing on the journey.
Got to find a way. Well, speaking of which, find a way as we got to shut down here. What's the best way for our audience and community to find you and to connect with you? Tell them if you wouldn't mind, please, sir.
Yeah, sure. Well, really, probably the best way is my website, merrillhodge.com. 2 R's,
Okay.
1 L, no D in Hodge. Every name is spelled wrong. So if it goes up wrong, hopefully it'll come through for you. But spell it the opposite. It's 2 R's, 1 L, MERRILHOGE.com. And that really has all of the information, and would love to hear from people and hear your journeys.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you being on here. You blessed our community big time, and we're going to throw you in the green room if you have a few minutes to stick around. We'd love for you to do that. But yeah, just appreciate you, sir. Rob?
Oof. That was good stuff. It
Great,
always
huh?
flies by, Steve, especially we get somebody like Merrill. And I know we only scratched the surface of his story.
I know.
But, everybody, definitely connect with Merrill on LinkedIn and merrillhodge.com. Learn more about what he's got to say because he's got a powerful platform. But listen, talk about overcoming. Wait, put me back there, Steve. Talk about overcoming. I just want to make sure that people understand, like what Merrill said, you learn from everybody. And that was huge. When he said that, I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. You learn from everybody. I heard somebody say, you can even learn from a fool. But look, Steve's no fool, but Steve wrote a book about his overcoming. I just put it in the chat. You're going to want to pick up his book, The Tao of a Master Connector. You want to learn from people's struggles so that number one, you're not alone. And number two, you can do it too. So appreciate you writing that book, Steve.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. And Yeah. So community, listen, I want to again thank you big time for being part of our community, our world. We're blessed to be part of yours. If you love this, make sure you tune in next week and get somebody that you know to tune in with you. It's going to be on connecting in the complex digital era with Greg Willis. It's going to be a fun show. Episode 162. Can't believe we're up to 162. May 8th. It's actually the show sponsored by our good friends of the show and personal friends, Russ Hedge. But it's going to be a great show. So tune in next week. But listen, if you're interested in sponsoring, we love that. Go to masterconnector.show and you can learn more about some of the upcoming episodes, as well as also if you're interested in sponsoring an episode, please go there. But I want to close down with a thought here. And I've been kind of telling a quick story here. And let me tell you a little bit about it's Malala Yousafzai. I think I might be saying it. Yousafzai, I believe is how it's pronounced. And she was a Pakistani activist for female education and the youngest Nobel Prize laureate. Malala defied the Taliban oppressive regime by advocating for girls' education, despite facing assassination attempts and enduring a gunshot wound to the head at the age of 15. Undeterred by violence aimed at silencing her voice, Malala continued to speak out, becoming a global symbol of courage and resilience. Her unwavering dedication to education and human rights has inspired millions worldwide, illuminating a path of hope and empowerment for generations to come. So, folks, everyone, you could be a Pakistani girl from the Middle East. You could be just a regular, mom. You could be, and mom's, by the way, best job in the world, most important job in the world. I'm not minimizing you, but doesn't matter. But all of us make a difference. Remember, folks, like Malala, let's make sure to be the light. Appreciate that.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.